So, what if you could actually think like an IELTS examiner? Well, in this explainer, we're going to break down the official blueprint for a Band 9 in speaking. We're going to give you that insider's perspective you really need to ace this thing.
And this entire blueprint, it comes directly from us, the experts here at the IELTS Focus. And, it's all about one crucial mindset shift. You've got to stop thinking like a test taker and start communicating like an expert.
Okay, here's the game plan. First, we're going to bust 2 huge myths that just sabotage so many scores. Then, once we've cleared all that out, we'll build up the 4 pillars that are the real foundation of a Band 9 performance. First up, let's talk about the big word myth. Seriously, this is probably the single most damaging idea that stops good candidates from getting a truly great score.
You see, so many people think they need to sound super academic, using all these complicated words. But the truth? The reality is that examiners want you to be precise. Using a fancy word in the wrong context is a massive red flag, and it's actually going to hurt your score, not help it.
Let's make this super clear. A Band 6 candidate might say something like, "My hometown possesses extraordinarily magnificent infrastructure." I mean, it just sounds robotic and forced, right? But the Band 9 response? "My hometown has developed quite rapidly. There are now plenty of modern facilities." See? It's natural, it's specific, and it's clear. That's what real communication sounds like. And here's another classic one. A candidate might say they enjoy cinematic consumption. Who talks like that? It's totally unnatural. The Band 9 answer, "I really enjoy watching films because it helps me unwind," is simple, it's authentic, and it tells the examiner why. You're showing you can actually communicate, not just repeat lines you've memorized.
Now for that second myth, the one that traps so many students, the idea that memorizing a bunch of scripts is a safe bet. Let me tell you why this is just so dangerous.
You have to understand this. Examiners are literally trained to spot memorized answers. The second your tone, your speed, or your rhythm changes, it's like a giant flashing neon sign to them. They know you just switched from speaking to reciting. And believe me, your fluency score is gonna take a hit. Okay, now listen to this. This is what a real Band 9 response sounds like. "Well, it depends on my mood, really. That little well is a totally natural filler. And if I've had a stressful week, that's a specific personal detail." This sounds like a person who is actually thinking and forming an answer on the spot, and that's exactly what you want. All right, myths are busted. Let's start building. Our first pillar is fluency and coherence. But, it might not mean what you think it means. This right here is one of the most important things to get. Everybody hesitates, even native speakers. The difference is why you hesitate. A Band 6 speaker is pausing because they're struggling with the language. They're searching for a word or trying to fix their grammar. But a Band 9 speaker, they only pause to think about what to say next, not how to say it. That's just a normal part of a real conversation. And this is how the best speakers handle those pauses. They use little phrases like, "That's a tricky one," or "Let me see," to show they're thinking. This doesn't break the flow at all. In fact, it makes the conversation feel more real and shows the examiner you are in total control. Awesome. Let's move on to our second pillar, lexical resource. This is all about your vocabulary, but probably not in the way you've been taught to think about it. So you can just forget about memorizing those long lists of impressive words. Lexical resource really comes down to 2 key skills. First, can you use the exact right word for the situation? And second, if you get stuck and can't think of a word, can you skillfully describe what you mean anyway? That's what true language flexibility looks like. Just look at this. The money is big. It's vague, it's simple, but saying competitive salary and long-term growth opportunities, now that is so much more precise, it's more sophisticated, and it just shows a way higher level of control over your language. And this is a perfect example of showing, not just telling. The word nice is so vague it means almost nothing. But describing someone as incredibly considerate who always goes out of his way to support people, well, that paints a really vivid picture in the examiner's mind. That is advanced communication. Let's move on to our third pillar, and this is one that a lot of people get wrong. Grammatical range and accuracy. Okay, here's the secret. Top-level speakers don't use complex grammar just to show off that they can. They use it with a purpose. Think of an advanced structure like a tool you use to add emphasis or a specific shade of meaning exactly where you need it. The grammar should always serve the message, not the other way around.
Check this out. Using a structure like inversion, starting with not only, is a classic sign of advanced control. When an examiner hears you use that correctly and naturally in a sentence, it's an immediate signal that they're listening to a very high-level speaker.
And finally, our fourth pillar, pronunciation. Let's just get this out of the way immediately and destroy the myth that you need to sound like you're from the UK or the US. Let me be absolutely clear. Your accent does not matter. What the examiner is listening for is clarity and what we call the music of your speech. How do you stress the important words? Do you use rising and falling intonation correctly? And do you group words together into natural-sounding phrases? That's called chunking, and it's so important for sounding fluent. This shows the power of intonation perfectly. Just listen how changing one little stressed word completely alters the meaning. If I say, I never said he stole the money, it means maybe someone else said it, but I didn't. But if I say, I never said he stole the money, it implies he stole something else. That incredible control over meaning is what examiners are listening for, not your accent.
So, as we wrap up this whole blueprint from the IELTS Focus, if there's just one word I want you to remember that connects all four of these pillars, from your words to your grammar to your pronunciation, it is this: precision.
And really, it all comes down to this one simple question you need to ask yourself. Are you walking into that test room trying to impress the examiner, or are you trying to communicate with them? Because the moment you shift your focus to just having a clear, natural, and precise conversation, everything changes. And that, right there, is the real secret to a Band 9.